Welcome to Bergonomics, demystifying economics with Ross McDowell.
$537 villains to blame for unaffordable housing in 146 seconds. Making the Reserve Bank the villain for housing affordability isn't that simple. From 2010, the RBA was worried Australia's economy would go into recession. They wanted to avoid the previous recession's 11% unemployment rate. The RBA took radical action. Interest rates were slashed from 4.75% to 0.1%, and $281 billion of new currency was pumped into the economy. The Reserve Bank prevented a recession and unemployment. But the record low interest rates meant many who previously couldn't afford a mortgage now qualified to buy a home. Nobody complained about housing affordability. In economics, the law of supply and demand tells us if the supply of new homes doesn't keep up with the increased demand for homes, then home prices will rise. And that's exactly what they did, to a record value of $10 trillion. So, who's in charge of the supply of houses in Australia? 537 municipal councils have a monopoly on issuing construction permits for every house and unit built. But council planning departments didn't proportionally increase construction approvals to keep up with the increased housing demand. If they had, house prices wouldn't have skyrocketed. So, why didn't they? When researching the productivity of local council planning departments for this podcast, a frustrated local government senior manager sent me an email saying, quote, "Ross, people need to stop blaming the planning system. It's not the planning system. It's the egos and self-absorbed individuals in the planning departments who have no consideration for the future needs or costs of housing applications." Quote ends. 537 council planning departments have monopolies on Australia's housing construction. They haven't responded to the law of supply and demand and so caused house prices to skyrocket. In the private sector, if your organisation doesn't respond to the law of supply and demand, it will go broke. Or, if it disadvantages the consumer by monopolistic behaviour, it will be prosecuted by the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission. Maybe the list of villains causing unaffordable housing just got longer. Please join me on the previous Bergonomics podcast, Affordable Housing, Designing Solutions, with Grand Design's host Peter Maddison, who takes a completely different view of Australia's housing affordability situation.